Have you ever heard the sound of freedom? Have you ever heard the sound of freedom?
You're listening to The Flip Side with Noah Filipiak, connecting the reality of the gospel to the grit of life. You can support the podcast and pick up some sweet Flipside swag at www.patreon.com/Noah Filipiak.
What is up, Flip-A-Pon-A-My? Welcome to episode 123 of the Flipside podcast, your third favorite podcast. Got my Angry Brew in tow here. Head over to angrybrew.com, fivelakes.com. Get 10% off your order. Promo code FLIP. Excited to have you with me today. Going to be interviewing Clinton and Charity Muñoz. They are the founders of Restored to More, a Christ-centered nonprofit ministry helping couples heal after betrayal, pornography, sexual addiction, and broken trust. After walking through their own story of betrayal, trauma, repentance, recovery, and restoration, they felt called to create a safe and hope-filled pathway for other couples who are longing for healing. Charity and Clinton have a podcast. They've got courses, coaching, resources, and this stuff is really, really accessible. Their focus is on couples. It is on equipping couples as well as equipping churches in how to help couples who have been through betrayal trauma, who have been through pornography addiction, infidelity, all sorts of things that couples are dealing with, and there's so few resources out there for couples. So I'm excited for this. I'm excited to highlight this. Beyond the Battle is an awesome ministry for guys, and often guys ask me this: what about me and my wife? What's something that we can do together? So I'm really glad to get to introduce the whole Flipside audience to this. And even if, recovery, betrayal, trauma is not part of your story, I think you will just be really encouraged by their testimony, by what Jesus has done in their life, the discipleship journey they've been on. And it's something that's inspirational to all of us in our walk with the Lord. So you can find out more. You can get these resources at restoredtomore.com. That's the number 2. That'll be in the show notes as well, restoredtomore.com. Before we jump into the interview, just a reminder, celebration. My new book, Shelter in the Storm, is coming out September 1st. I'm getting excited about that. It is less than a month away. The advanced copies have all been sent out to the launch team, so thank you so much. And you can still get on and order a pre-sale copy if you'd like, or just wait till launch day. September 1st comes out. But Shelter in the Storm is a book through the Psalms. It's 40 devotionals through the Psalms. There's also a 6-week small group curriculum. And it is for the grit of life. It is for when our prayers go unanswered, when we have circumstances that aren't changing, and we are wondering where God is. And it's all straight from Scripture, with no neat bows tied on top, as usually is the case in those types of situations. And it's a great resource for men and women. I'm excited to have a book for all audiences, all ages, but also I know that a lot of you listening are Beyond the Battle readers, and you're in men's groups, and you're in recovery groups. And so what I'm also creating is an ebook companion. It'll be very inexpensive to read along with Shelter in the Storm. That is a work in progress. I'll keep you posted on it. But it is going to be add-on material to every day of the devotions, as well as a brand new 6-week discussion guide, curriculum to add on to what's already in the book. And the add-on companion is going to be specifically for men's or women's recovery groups that are dealing with unwanted sexual behavior, pornography, lust, fantasy. How do we overcome these things? How do we find healing and wholeness? Really, many of the things Clinton and Charity are going to talk about, that we're going to talk about today in the episode, as well as those dealing with discontentment in their singleness, discontentment in their marriages. A lot of things Shelter in the Storm hits on with what do we do when we're in these circumstances that aren't changing. And then we're going to do a deep dive so that you can use this companion guide and Shelter in the Storm as a next resource for you in your devotional time, a next resource for you in your recovery group or your men's or women's group when you're finished with Beyond the Battle or whatever other material that you're already going through. So stay tuned to the Flip Side for that, or you can head over to noahflipiak.com and subscribe to get those updates. So yeah, really excited to jump into this conversation. Glad to be in the trenches with Clinton and Charity, just very similar hearts and seeing Jesus do amazing things in people's hearts and lives through the hard work of healing and therapy and our identity in Christ. So sit back and enjoy this conversation.
Heard the sound of freedom.
All right, welcome to the flip side, Clinton and Charity. It's great to have you guys on.
Thanks for having us. It's been a while.
I know. I was on your podcast, feels like ages ago. I mean, I think it was 5 years ago. My oldest daughter's going into high school right now,
Wow.
which is not okay with me. Um,
That's good.
when my 14-year-old was probably 9 the last time that we
Wow.
talked. So,
A lot's changed. A lot's changed. I remember even interviewing you, and I think there was like you were somewhere else. Like it was like there's maybe books in the
yeah,
background.
that was my home office,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
basement. I've upgraded now at the church
In the
office.
basement.
I bought a better camera as well, and got a little decoration. So,
Yeah.
the flip side's moving up in the world. Yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah, that came out of, I was working from home as a church planter because you're like, yeah, it's free, and just not being able to work from home anymore. Like it kind of hit that point of I need to be around some people and I need a
Oh,
work
yeah.
environment away from my kids, and those sorts of things. So yeah, it's been nice to come in here and turn on work mode and podcast mode and all that sorts of things. So
We totally get it. We got 3 boys and we're in summer, which is really hard. Summer
Yeah.
stuff, we still work from home. This is our home office. So we
Yeah.
have like, all right, them downstairs, one upstairs. Like, all right, guys, you can't
Yes.
knock. Don't even knock on the door.
I'm totally with you. I have 3 daughters, and and my wife's a teacher, so summer is even more challenging.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Wait, where did my quiet home office go that I used to work
It's
in?
gone.
So,
It's gone. At least for
Yeah.
a few months.
yeah, that's right. Well, hey, just introduce yourselves to the Flip Side audience. Tell us about yourself. What do you guys like to do? Tell us about Clinton and Charity.
Awesome. Well, we're from Southern California. We actually just moved back to Southern California. We moved to Idaho for 5 years, and we're super excited to be back near family. We love the weather. We love the beach. We're like, why did we ever move?
I remember you guys moved to Idaho. When we talked, you I think just had moved. So
We did. We
all right.
did. You're right. So we just moved back, and it was the best decision ever. Our family is literally like 3 minutes here, 3 minutes there.
Yeah.
Our kids can like walk to grandma and grandpa's and have breakfast, and
Nice.
it's just like been the biggest blessing. And we love the ocean. So I would say one of our biggest, newest hobbies is fishing, ocean fishing.
Oh,
So
sweet.
for my birthday last week, Clinton took me out. We have like a little tandem kayak, and or we did. It broke and sunk over the weekend. But
Oh no. Okay.
You had to say it broke in half.
Hopefully
Yeah, no
not
big
when
deal.
like a shark was right next to you, but okay.
Thankfully, no shark. We're
Okay.
good. We were in the harbor, so we were fine. No deep water.
we went out and we went fishing, and we get live bait and we have pulls, and I caught so many fish. I caught 2 halibut and 2 barracuda, and it was like the funnest thing
That's
ever.
so fun. And it's
Yeah.
stuff in the ocean is wild. Like you don't know what you're gonna pull
Dude.
up. It's some
And there's
alien
no
creature.
anchor, so it just kind of takes you sometimes. We have a whole rig on paddle boards. My kid got a almost 30-pound yellowtail 2 days ago, and he got
Wow.
a halibut yesterday, and he's 9. And so these
30
pictures-
pounds is very heavy. I cannot,
he
I am
is-
not allowed to
out-
carry 30 pounds with my shoulder right now.
No, it was crazy heavy. His pole was like when it was in the ocean. He was stoked out of his mind bringing up that fish. So it was cool.
So you're on a kayak though in the ocean. I mean, come on. Isn't some large dark object gonna just roll up next to you? I mean, has that happened to you yet?
Noah, it could.
Hopefully it's a manatee. We'll hope that it's
When you catch it happens where you catch a shark. Okay, so sometimes you catch a shark, and because it's the reel spins a certain way. It just goes.
Okay.
You're like, whoa, this isn't a fish. And then if you set your drag tighter and you lock it in, or if you're using conventional and you close your reel, all of a sudden you just start getting towed out in the middle of the ocean. You typically have to cut your line
okay.
unless you're trying to get a shark next to you. Sometimes
Oh.
the tail will come up and do a whole whip out of, and then it's kind of scary.
You
Like,
California people are something else, man. I'm telling you. We like our Lake Michigan here. We wear T-shirts that say "Shark Free"
That's
Lake
right.
Michigan
There you
on
go.
them. Yeah,
but that's
Yeah,
who we are. That's a little bit of where we're at. We got 3 boys. They are
Love it.
9, 8, and 6 right now, and life is full. It's busy. It's stressful. We're trying to regulate all the time, and
Yes.
we're a team. So that thankfully we're a team. And
Yeah.
we can kind of go, hey, what do you need right now? We're trying to help each other out. So, but
Nice.
God's so good. Life's good. Family's good. We're grateful for sure.
I love it. Well, you guys are a team and your testimony is amazing. I mean, right? You've come a long way. So, can you just introduce our audience to your testimony and what led into, the Restore to More ministry?
Yeah, you're right. I mean, the fact that we are a team today is a testimony of God's grace. I mean, he just, we want to give him glory right off the get go for doing what only he can do, in our opinion. I had struggled with pornography since I was 10 years old. And so this bled into our marriage. I kind of had ideas that maybe marriage would fix that. There also was this struggle that was like, oh, I'm just going to hide it. And Charity knew bits and pieces of my story, but I definitely kind of candy coated it and omitted details of how severe that struggle was. Then we got married and she found out more. It wasn't just pornography too. I mean, it led into strip clubs and massage parlors and stuff that I never thought I would do. Right. If you told me when I was 16, 17, hey, this is going to take you places and that you never thought you'd be in, I wouldn't have believed you. And so our whole marriage was in shambles when she really found out the extent of my addiction and my struggle. It took years of recovery, seeing therapists, going to intensives. I mean, it was a deep struggle. It was a daily, it was dark. And so working through that individually, we discovered that, man, even if you're in individual healing and recovery and you're in programs, there's not always something that brings the spouses back together. And so one of those pivotal moments of our journey was me interviewing people that I looked at as mentors, sponsors, if you want to call them that, people in my life that had been farther along the journey and had more sobriety than I had,
Mm-hmm.
but their marriage was still in shambles. Some of them were divorced. Some of
Yeah.
them slept in the same house, but they didn't sleep in the same room. They didn't have a connection. They didn't have intimacy with their spouse. And I just remember praying and being like, God, is that all I have to look forward to? Like, and that was their advice. Like, hey man, just be happy you're still married. Just be happy that, this is what I have. You should be grateful. And I just remember God being like, no, like I'm the God that restores. I'm the God that brings
Yeah.
new life. I'm the God that restores what the locusts have taken. I bring dead things to life. I bring sight to the blind. I am a miracle working God. Believe that, trust that, and follow my leading. And so we just prayed into that. And Charity was in the same mindset. She was like, if you're healing, if you're growing, if I'm healing and I'm growing, then why can't we grow together in Christ? And why can't Christ do a miracle in our marriage? And so we just kind of just like submitted to that, obeyed God daily, weekly. It wasn't easy. It was a mess, right? A lot of trial and error, a lot of us falling on our face over and over again, but us continuing to desire and long for Jesus to do a work in our relationship that we had really rarely seen in couples with a story of betrayal. And once that started to happen, we were like, man, I feel like God wants us to share this story, hence the birth of a podcast. And now we have Restored to More. It's a nonprofit. It's reached thousands of people. Hundreds of couples have gone through our course. It's been a wild ride, similar to what you're sharing about.
Mm-hmm.
No idea that we'd be where we're at today. We never thought we'd be in full-time ministry. We both were entrepreneurs before this. And so we never thought we'd be donor funded. That's like not even a word entrepreneurs think of. And yet God's had us on this amazing journey. It's been the hardest thing of our life and the most gratifying, just this amazing experience for sure. And we've been doing it for about 5 years now. So
Nice. Charity, what was that journey like for you as a wife? The word betrayal trauma is used in our field, and so the betrayer is said to be, the person looking at the pornography or the infidelity. For you as the wife, considered the betrayed spouse, there's a lot that goes into that. What was that process like for you from this day one until now?
I love that you said a process because it's definitely a process. In the beginning, I had no idea. And I think a lot of women, we're just not educated, right? At least from my perspective, my story was all men struggle and pornography isn't that bad. I didn't understand the drug. I didn't understand the chemical. I didn't understand the dependency. I didn't understand how it could lead to more and how it was impacting our marriage and how it was impacting our, even just like not our relationship, but like physically, emotionally, spiritually, sexually, it was impacting everything.
Yeah.
So I really believe that once I started getting educated, that's really when my healing journey started. But before then, I mean, I remember saying like, once you get help, then our marriage will be fixed. And then him coming home and I'm seeing change, I'm seeing growth. And I'm also just like laying there on the couch crying with tears down my face and feeling still so broken. Like, so cool for you that you feel now free, but all of your shame and all of your brokenness and your darkness was just thrown onto me. And now I don't know what to do with it. And now I'm carrying it and I don't know who to talk to. And I feel like our parents are going to judge us. They're going to tell us to get a divorce. Friends are going to tell us, once a cheater, always a cheater. What are you doing? And so there's so much like shame, darkness, isolation.
Then you had symptoms too.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, not only were you crying, but it was like,
Mm.
and I'm super confused because I'm like having more sobriety and more freedom than I've ever had in my life.
Yeah.
I'm like, hey, look, here's my 30-day and here's my 90-day, and you're having hair loss and weight loss. Your stomach is all messed up.
Yeah.
Like
Mm.
you're having sciatic back pain. I mean, it's like the list goes. You checked almost every box of like you're having memory loss and brain fog, and so this idea that, oh, if the husband just finds freedom, our marriage is going to get better. Like that was like, oh, that became challenged really quickly.
Oh, for sure. I'll never forget my mom. We dropped off the kids for a therapy appointment that we were going to. My parents didn't know. And as I dropped them off, my mom looked at me and she said, hey, something's going on in your home. I can tell you're losing so much weight. Your hair's falling out and you don't look good. Like, can you please just like tell us what's going on? We want to be here for you.
Wow.
And that's when I just like broke. And I was like, oh my
Mhm.
gosh, I can't hide this anymore. I have to start talking to people. I need to get help and healing on my own. And that's when we told our parents and we told some friends. And I really started going on my own journey of really understanding what was going on with me, understanding the impact of pornography and what that had, the lies, the deception, the betrayal, the trauma. I mean, when people said PTSD, I laughed. I was like, no, there's no way I PTSD. Like, I've been
You've
through
never
too
been
much.
you've never been like a victim mindset.
Oh,
Like that's never been.
Mhm.
Charity's gone through some really hard childhood things, and she always was like, okay, I got to push through this. I have to work this out. Like I can't just lay here. That's never going to work. And so you're a doer.
yeah.
But to like admit like, oh man, this is really impacting me was really hard for you.
Yeah, well, I was like, I've been through way worse, in my mind. I thought I had been,
Mhm.
and I didn't have results like this before. So
Yeah.
I went on my own journey of seeing my own sexual addiction therapist for betrayal trauma. I went and saw I did a women's group on betrayal trauma and just really started seeking the Lord and saying like, Lord, where are you in this? Like what are your thoughts on this and what do you want me to do and who do you want me to become? And I'll never forget, what this kind of did to me. It was like a fish that you're filleting. It's kind of a gross image, but when you're filleting a fish, like everything kind of falls out, all the yuck. And you have an
Mm.
opportunity in that moment to either see all the yuck and put it back inside and pretend like it wasn't there and zip it back up, or you have the opportunity to really like release all the junk and sew
Yeah.
a new person back up. And that's what really that did to me. It revealed everything. And I was like, I don't want that in me anymore. I don't want the junk. And it really enhanced like old wounds that I thought were healed, but were not healed. So now I'm
Yeah.
like, trying to walk through like double trauma of like things that happened to me in my past with boyfriends or like my parents and divorce and
Mm.
all these things. And now I'm like, oh my gosh, I have so much personal healing that I need to endure that I know God's calling me to become the better version of myself, regardless of what my husband, that's really where I had to get to a place of regardless of who my husband becomes, regardless of what my husband does, God is calling me to him and to be faithful to him and to look at his track record versus my husband's track record because God is faithful. His track record is faithful and every other person is going to continue to let me down. But if I rely
Mm.
on the Lord and am faithful to him and continue to be in step with him, then I know that he's one, going to guide me, two, going to comfort me and be there for me. And he's going to reveal like at the end of this, like where I need to go, like, do I need to stay in the marriage? Are we going to stay together? But that is really where God was calling me in the whole process and the journey of recovery.
I think so beyond the battle, I'm dealing with guys that are the betrayer in the relationship, and some of our guys are single, and everyone's kind of at a different place. But For a lot of guys, they're in that betrayal trauma space, and a lot of what both of you said, I think, really resonates.
Mm.
Where, Clinton, you talked about I'm sober like for the first time, and I'm
Totally.
feeling great and free, like I have this
Yeah.
freedom because I'm not in this sin anymore, and I'm not, I'm
Yeah.
not like the lies aren't there anymore, and just all that. I mean, just so much that pornography does to our mental and emotional health.
Mm.
And then meanwhile, Charity, as the betrayed spouse, this trauma has just been dumped on you. And I've heard it described. It was Mark and Beth Dennison I was talking to about betrayal trauma on the flip side. And Beth had said, it's like you get married and you have this 10,000 piece puzzle that's put
Mm.
together of like what your marriage is and what your life is going to be. And then the disclosure happens, or, the whatever, like you get found out of the husband that was doing the betraying. And then the 10,000 piece puzzle just shatters and it scatters all over the house. Right. And that's how she described it. And I think for a lot of our guys, and I could just, I think guys in general, they're in that boat. They want it to happen fast, right? They want their wife to, or perhaps it's an ex-wife in some cases, to see, hey, I'm different now. I'm changed. Like God did a work in me. Can't you see it? Can't you forgive me? And then meanwhile, their wife has truly been traumatized by the actions of her husband. And there's a level of safety that she has to experience before she's going to be able to take that step towards, intimacy and healing. And there's a lot there that I'm throwing out on the table. I guess well, I'll try to do one question at a time. Let's start with like when a wife is not ready to take a step towards healing. Like she's angry and cold, and she is not ready to sign up for a group.
Yeah.
Give advice to the guy. Let's start there. Like give advice to the and we could speak in general terms, like the betraying spouse
Sure.
that's doing the work and is
Yeah.
experiencing healing. What advice do you give to
Yeah.
them as their spouse, in this case, their wife, is not interested and they're married, but they're in that cold state like you described?
Yep. No, and we get those reach outs weekly. There is a spouse. We call it the unfaithful spouse, a betrayer spouse.
Yeah, that
Same
works.
thing.
Unfaithful. Yeah.
I just use that term a lot, so it's like I might
Yeah.
go there just so in case you hear me say that. But I think it's so tough. I just want to like empathize first of all. If someone's listening and they're like, man, like I'm so tired. I'm so hurt. I'm so broken. I want my spouse so bad to enter into healing. And I think the biggest thing we can do as the unfaithful spouse betrayer is that we can work on our stuff and we can pursue Jesus and we can pray for our spouse. I think that we don't often give prayer enough credit. Like Jesus talks so much about prayer, right? That it moves mountains and that it enters into the spiritual realm where chains are broken and hearts are fixed. And there is a work here. And this is why our ministry had to be faith-based. It had to be focused on Christ, because there is workings of the heart that we believe only Jesus can do, right? The ultimate healer can come in and do that work. So in the meantime, I think we're praying for our spouse. That's the very first thing. We're praying for them. And I'm not praying that Charity would like see the work that I'm doing. That's very selfish. I'm praying that Charity would heal from the brokenness that I caused. I'm praying that she would allow Jesus to come in and heal her wounds and heal her brokenness, and that she would take that pain and frustration and anger to Jesus. I mean, we have a couple that went through I don't mean to do a plug, but our couple went through our course, and one of our chapters, actually it's the second chapter, and it's processing your pain with Jesus. Because the reality is we have to take all that hurt to the cross and say, God, I'm having a hard time. Like, why would you allow this? Well, I know that questions for Charity was like, why would God, I prayed for a husband that would honor me and that would care for me, unlike people in my life had done in the past. And then you gave me this guy, like this guy that like, sure, like he makes me laugh and sure, he checks off a lot of the boxes, but he betrayed me. And even on the day that he said on the altar, when he said he would honor me and be faithful, he wasn't even doing that before. And then he just goes on to do it afterward. Like there's so much hurt there. So the first thing is praying. The second thing I would say, Noah, is working on what we need to work on. And that's finding freedom. That's finding, and I mean sobriety. I don't really say sobriety a lot because I think sobriety is just omitting something, but recovery and healing is emptying the cup and filling it back up with things that are healthy, right? A
Yeah.
healthy way to process pain, learning how to become emotionally aware of what we're feeling, learning how to process those emotions with healthy people, learning how to go, okay, I need to do life differently, not just get rid of a habit, but actually do life differently. A lot of what the betrayed spouses are looking for is not just have you not looked at pornography, but it's how are you handling your anger? How are you handling stressful moments? How are you handling work stress? How are you handling financial stress? How are you feeling about your body and handling fitness? And I think when we start to do those things differently, our spouse goes, wow, I feel like you're operating in a different operating system. And then the next one I would say is learning about betrayal, learning about what our betrayed spouse is going through. Like you said, most of the time it's a husband. We work with both, like both spouses can be unfaithful and betrayed, but a lot of men that are the unfaithful or the betrayer spouse, they have a really hard time grabbing a hold of the fact that their wife has been traumatized.
Yeah.
So, when I ask those men, how many books have you read about betrayal trauma? Typically, it's a big fat goose egg. And they're not like, oh, yeah, I read this one, that one. I'm like, yeah, you don't listen to the podcast. You haven't read the books. And I would just challenge you to have a really open heart and ask the Lord to show you, man, what has this done to my wife? Because if they sit in that for a little bit, if they actually read some books, and I mean like godly women writing godly books about what happens when betrayal takes place and how there can be post-traumatic growth, how she can grow out of it, she can heal from it, but get educated on what it did to your spouse. Those would be my top three. Pray, work on yourself, and get educated about what it probably did to your spouse.
So my next question is going to be, Charity, you can speak into this about, the wife, the betrayed spouse, if there's someone that doesn't want to take the steps of healing. But I am going to put a pause on that question for a second, because what you just mentioned, Clinton, what do you guys both, can give me your thoughts on this? Like, when you're doing all those things as the unfaithful spouse and the results aren't there, I think we often go into this like wanting the results and certainly believing in God for those results. Like, absolutely, there would be no hope without God's ability to change someone's heart and just to bring restoration on both sides. But there are cases where the results don't come. The results being
Divorce, separation.
a divorce, or
Yeah.
the heart of the betrayed spouse doesn't change, and the coldness just continues. And man, for a lot of guys, that I'm close with, in like a beyond the battle mentoring sort of way, some guys want to throw in the towel. Some guys, they create so much resentment in them towards their wife, like why, and then it becomes her problem, her fault. And that there's just no guarantee on that timeline, right? So I guess when the results don't come in a given expectation window, what's your guidance on that for those that are in that space?
I'm so glad you asked, Noah. I've personally gotten a chance to walk with those guys too. And they're some of my closest friends. And it's ended in divorce. It's ended in separation. Their wife is further into anger and bitterness today than they ever were. We're talking about years into recovery, and he's a different person. And it's so hard and it's so heartbreaking. My advice is, you're right. One, comparison is a losing game every time, right? Mm-hmm. Comparing your story to somebody else's story, that's not what God wants us to do. Right. But I do think that there becomes a sense of abiding in Christ that becomes so tangibly real for that person. Because if Christ, I mean, the idea that marriage is great, and I believe that God, he created the institution of marriage. It's awesome. But we can also idolize marriage, right? I mean, we can put marriage in a spot in our heart that it's not meant to be. It's meant to be this amazing thing, but it's not meant to be an idol. It's not meant to be this thing like a worship or that I have to have. And so my advice to these men is, man, let Christ be your all. And that is so much easier said than done. I get emotional even telling you that, Noah, because I'm picturing these men's faces. Yeah. And I keep coming back on these one-on-one conversations. And I'm like, I know, man, I know. But right now, don't you think God is calling you to worship God and to honor your wife, to love your wife, and to lay down yourself and to keep your heart soft. And every time that guy breaks down in tears and he's like, you're right. That's what I want to do. I just want to honor the Lord. And I want to keep my heart soft towards my wife. And it's so hard because she's so angry and she's so nitpicky and she's so bitter and she's so hurt and she's not experiencing healing. Sometimes they're going to even counselors that are really creating that victim mindset, or they're going to groups that are creating that victim mindset. It's getting worse and worse, and it's compounding and it's affecting their body and it's hurting everybody. But when I ask this husband, like, what do you feel like God's calling you to do? That's where I keep going. I don't have like a, hey, should you divorce her? Should you stay? I'm like, that's not my role, man. Like, that's between you and Jesus. But it is like, what is God calling you to do? And almost 9 times out of 10, they're saying, God's saying to just abide and trust him for today. And I go, man, we don't know the end of the story. We don't know. Tomorrow has enough worries of its own. But what do you think God's calling you to do today? And typically they result with honor God, stay soft, love my wife, serve her, keep showing up how I can. And a lot of times it's also learning healthy boundaries, because a lot of men, they go into that spot of like, well, I deserve to be a punching bag. I deserve to the verbal abuse I'm getting. And we do have to work with those guys on going, well, no, that's not your role either, right? You can have those boundaries and still honor God by actually having healthy boundaries and not allowing to be a doormat that, this isn't like, you don't deserve that, but learning how to do that well, learning how to love your wife and serve your wife well and honor God in all of that. For me and what we see, that's like the most important thing that these guys come back to time and time and time again. And like you said, not knowing that timeline, you can't put a timeline on it. And you can't say, well, don't you think I deserve to leave her? And I go, hey man, you can't ask me that. Like, that's between you and the Holy Spirit,
Yeah, that's helpful. That's well said. Charity, what would you say to the betrayed spouse? In our examples, to women out there that are in that place of, and I talk to a lot of guys like that. Hey, I found a couples group. My wife won't even look at it. I've found books on betrayal trauma for her, and she says, that's your problem. Like, you caused this. I don't. You're the one that needs the help, not me. Or any other number of. And I'm not judging those women. Let me just say, I to an extent, I'm like, they have a right to feel that way. I don't. And maybe right is the wrong word, but it
makes sense, right?
Total sense that they would feel that way. And I will say, I think that there's, with back to that idea of safety, that a guy can't, the unfaithful spouse can't impose safety onto his spouse, like onto a wife, to say, no, I am safe now. There's what would you say to women like that are in that spot? And I would say this: they're probably not the ones listening to this podcast, but the guy might be listening, and maybe some advice to him too on, if you're the wife in that example, like what what's helpful and not helpful for the guy to be doing. So I guess it's a 2-pronged question for you, Charity.
First, I'd relate. I remember being so angry that I had to go to a group for something I didn't do. I mean, in this group, it's not like a group that's like cool and fun. Okay, it's not pretty. It's not like a women's
you're in a surf group right now. You guys get together and you surf.
You're not.
Some girls, you
you're
fish.
not deep sea fishing.
It's not that.
Yeah.
It's not that. Right? It's not your fishing group.
Yeah.
Hashtags, that you want to be posting on Instagram.
Exactly.
Cool graphics that you're promoting.
Right.
This is a group that was so hard to find on my church's website and was like backdoor, not promoted. And then it's on like the most random night of the week. It's at a late time and it's cold and it's in a room that I didn't even know existed at the church, right? Like, it's that kind of group. It's dark. I'm in like a coat, and I remember walking in my first group being like, I'm so freaking pissed.
Yeah.
I'm so freaking pissed. These people, I don't want to go to this group. I can't believe I'm showing up to something that I didn't even physically do. It felt like I was going to AA, like an AA group, because I grew up with that with my mom. It felt like I was going to an AA group, but I wasn't Catholic, like, why am I going to something that I didn't I was so angry. I remember showing up like arms folded, just freaking pissed. Like, I don't want to be here. I hate that I'm here. And I'm just angry. And I remember showing up a couple times like that. And and but then the Lord graciously really met me and spoke to me, and it was good for a season. But I say all that because I understand being so angry. I remember being bitter. I remember being resentful. I remember being frustrated that I had to do something for something that I didn't do, and being a part of this now club, and my whole life looks different. And I really I first just want to say, like, that is part of grieving. She is grieving, she's grieving that now her life looks completely different than what she thought it would. I mean, my whole life is different today. We don't watch movies that normally people would watch. Our rules are different in the bedroom. I mean, we have a different lifestyle today. And I look at it though as more of this is the life that God is calling us to versus being angry and bitter and like filling my head with junk or surrounding myself with people that maybe aren't really that healthy for me. And so with all that to say though, I remember Clinton and I were in an argument, like we were probably the majority of our beginning of recovery.
Are you talking about the drive you took? And
well, no, I was gonna go somewhere else, but I can go there if you want me to afterwards.
No, sorry.
So what happened was I remember us being in an argument. I remember him changing. I remember I started noticing like, oh wow, he's really he's becoming who I thought I was actually marrying on our wedding day. And I remember we were actually in a grocery store, Ralph's. I remember like to the T where we were arguing, and he's like, if we get a divorce, I just want you to know she's going to get the better me. And I remember just being like so pissed at that moment. Like,
not sure I'd recommend that, but this is what happened. This is our
I love that.
remember, like, oh my gosh, like it was a light bulb moment of no way in heck is some other girl gonna get who I thought I was actually marrying on
Right.
a day, gonna get the best version of my husband. And she didn't even go through any of the pain. Like, if I'm going to be going through all this pain, I better get a freaking huge result at the end of it. That's amazing. And I remember like that was like a big driver for me, was like, okay, if I endure all this pain and he's actually growing and changing into who he says he's going to become, I don't want another woman getting that. I want that. I want the result. I endured all this pain and this hurt, and I believed that he was healing. So I knew what he was saying was like, he wasn't just throwing a bluff. Like, he's like, I'm changing and growing, and you're either going to be there at the end of it and enjoy it and love it with me, or you're not. And somebody else is. And I was like, dang, like, I don't want that. And so that was a big driver for me, for sure.
I wanted you to talk about the story though of
Jesus.
Yeah, because it was a pivotal. I think what happens, Noah, is that a spouse gets stuck, right? They get stuck. The betrayed spouse gets stuck in their pain, in their anger. They get stuck in the what ifs. And I hear you're saying, like, whenever you grieve, there's a whole process of grieving, right? And the last part of that is acceptance. And that's what you're saying. Like, I got to a point where I accepted, like, this is our new life. This is our new operating way of life. That takes a long time to get to acceptance. And I think the first part of that is anger, right? It's that. But there was a pivotal point where you had to like hash it out with the Lord. And I see most betrayed spouses not reaching that step.
Yeah.
Like they don't go there with God.
Yeah. Yeah. So there was lots of moments on my recovery journey of like kind of light bulb moments and things happening. And one of those was I was really angry. It was actually after Clinton had just told me that he relapsed for the first time. And I remember being so angry, and I went up to a mountaintop and was blaring worship music, and I was just crying out to the Lord and saying, like, are you kidding me? Like, how dare you? Like, you've seen what I've gone through. You know what I went through when I was little. Like, you saw I was molested by my mom's boyfriend. My parents got divorced. I had terrible toxic boyfriends, like friends that were toxic, like all these people, Lord, have betrayed me. And I thought I was getting this husband that wasn't going to hurt me. Like, I'm duped, Lord. Like, how could you? Like, I thought you were going to protect me. And I remember being so real, tears streaming down my face, so angry with him. Like, how could you, like, I've been so faithful. Like, why would you not protect me in my marriage? Like, I wasn't protected my entire life, and now you're not protecting me here. Like, what is up, Lord? And I remember the Lord really gently just saying to me, like, Charity, I have never left you. I've been there the entire time. I've caught every tear of yours. I've comforted you. I've been there for you. I love you. I will never betray you. I have never betrayed you. Lean into me in this season, and I will give you all the comfort you need. I will give you all the rest, all the peace, all the love. And let me prove to you, let me show you that I will be there for you, that I will comfort you. And it really revealed to me in that moment, like, whoa, he's right. Even though I had gone through all those things, instead of me running to the Lord, I ran away from the Lord. And I betrayed God in some of those moments when I was hurt and I was in pain. I was running away because I was so angry with what was happening in my life. And God was saying, hey, I've been here this whole time. Like, I want to love you. I want to comfort you, and just run into me this time. And I remember being like, wow, Lord, like, you're right. You've never left me, but I have walked away from you, and I want to run to you this time. And that was really a really pivotal moment, because scripture, it became not just words on a page. It really became the bread of life for me. It really became water to my soul. I mean,
Yeah. You let go of our marriage too. You like let go. I remember you being like, hey, whatever you do is on you, buddy. Like, I had just relapsed, right? So she's like, if you're going to stay stuck in your sin and we're going to get a divorce, like, I remember you being like, I'm going to let go of our marriage being the goal. Like, you had been like, I want our marriage to be restored. I want it to be this, and you ruined that. And it was like, hey, buddy, whatever you're going to do, you're going to do.
Yeah.
But I'm going to stay with God because he hasn't betrayed me.
Yep.
He hasn't left me. And I think that was a pivotal moment where I realized, like, wow, you're going to have healing. And I actually knew at that point too, no, she might leave me.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, okay, she might divorce me at this point, because she's like, hey, divorce isn't the end. I remember you being that, like, divorce isn't the end. Like, not like I don't want to get divorced, but if you choose to keep doing this, I probably should divorce you and take our kids into a healthy relationship and not have you around our kids all the time, because you're not healthy and you're still choosing these habits. But I'm going to do that with peace. And I was like, whoa, like, you came back a different person. And I was like, oh, wow, you have more peace, you have more serenity, and you just started to abide in Christ. Like you were saying, the Bible, it was no longer words on a page. It wasn't just a book to read. He became your lifeline in that season.
Yeah. He really revealed to me in that season too, like, that he had been betrayed over and over again when he was on earth. And, there's nothing more comforting to a betrayed spouse than someone knowing what you've gone through.
Yeah.
Really feeling the sense of betrayal. And there's time and time again when Jesus was here on earth that he was betrayed by those closest to him. And it really gave me a different love and a passion, and just a knowing that God really understands. God really wants to be here for me and to restore me. And he did. So yeah, those are some powerful moments.
Man, I couldn't help think at the very end there, Charity, and for myself, I've had those moments with God and realizing, and I betrayed God. Like, that's the whole idea of salvation, is that I've sinned against him, and he felt that and still brought me back, and redeemed me. And that's really powerful. Thank you for sharing that. You guys both mentioned this, and so I think it's worth revisiting for both the betrayed spouse and the unfaithful spouse, this idea of acceptance and of letting go of control. I think a lot of times the unfaithful spouse, in this case, husband, it can be communicated to him by the wife, the betrayed spouse, that it's your fault that I feel this way, that I'm cold, that I'm this, and so you need to be perfect plus you need to be perfect 120% of the time. And if you don't, this is all your fault, right? And it's a really unhealthy, like, codependent sort of relationship where the guy, then the betrayer, is tasked with the impossible, and tasked with something that like I'm in control of my spouse's feelings and emotions, and I have to fix her. And the other way around, Charity, you just said it, like so much freedom for you to say, um, I don't control my husband's sin. I don't control his addictions. And that's such a abusive thing in the church, right? Where women have been told, have sex with your husband so he doesn't look at porn, make yourself prettier so he doesn't look at other women. I mean, those are real things that aren't just on the fringes. Like these are things still taught in churches. It's crazy, but it creates that enmeshment like, oh, he's sinning, he's looking at porn, visiting strip clubs. That's my fault as a wife. What do I need to do to change him and or stop him? I need to stop him from doing this behavior versus the acceptance, the letting go and working on that. You both described it, that secure sense of self in Christ, where I'm going to get my needs met in Jesus and I'm going to have my acceptance in him and I'm going to pray for my spouse and I'm going to set a boundary, right? And if they don't change, I can't change them, right? Man, that's so freeing. And that's something we've been doing a lot of in the last year with our Beyond the Battle conversations, because I think it's just like the next deeper layer of recovery, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I think you're spot on. And that's so true. And there's so much there. It's a journey. It's a process. It's understanding where are we at in a marriage? Where is our relationship at? But I would agree.
Yeah. So what I love when I think of surrender, I think of, you have a war and there's two people and one of them has to surrender. And what they have to physically do is they have to let go of what was protecting them, AKA their weapons, the things that they were holding on to. And it is so hard to let go of what you believe is protecting you. Because when you let go, you are so vulnerable. You are so vulnerable to potentially getting hurt, right? So vulnerable of what's going to happen and getting hurt again. And that's the risk of surrendering, is letting go of control, but putting your trust not in the person who you're looking at with the weapons, putting your trust in God, knowing that he's the one that's going to protect you. Yep. And you're really laying it at his feet, not at your
spouse's feet. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. That's what I see, is so many. And this is why it's so important, right? To go to the source of life and go, what is this advice I'm getting? Who's counseling me? What is their background? Are they actually rooted in like biblical theology as well as clinically trained? Because what we're seeing more and more of, even people that have CSATs and like, oh, you think that's the best? Like the CSAT became like the number one thing. But there's a lot of secular CSATs and there's a lot of victim mindset that's being taught to anybody who has our story. And so a lot of betrayed spouses are getting stuck in that victim mindset versus being taught what we believe. One of our favorite phrases is post-traumatic growth.
Nice.
That's great. We're going to do that in every podcast from now on. But I think about that. Like when you think about that, what does that mean? Well, it means that yes, it's traumatic. Yes, this happened. Yes, these are the side effects. And we own that and we're aware of that. But we don't need to stay there because we have a God that restores, that renews, that reconciles. I don't know why they're all our words, but they are. And so it's like, and God does all this. And so if we just think like this happened to me and this is my story, period. Oh man, I think we're rejecting the truth of the gospel. Like this is what we got to get to the gospel, that God does miracles, that he heals. This man was blind his whole life and now he sees. This man was lame and now he picked up his mat and can walk. And so what do we do with that? And does God always heal? Well, that's the whole other conversation. But I think when we look at this part of our story, he does want to heal our brokenness. And so I think going back to where is the advice you're getting coming from? Is it coming from people who are walking with Jesus? Is it coming from, we understand trauma and we understand neuroscience and we understand all these things that coming through those lenses, and is it coming from the Bible, the source of all truth? And when we combine those things, we end up seeing God work miracle after miracle after miracle. And we can tell you testimony of couple after couple after couple after couple after couple who didn't have hope, but ran to Jesus, practiced the things we're talking about on this episode, and now have a story that is like, whoa, are you serious? God, you guys? And I just think that's what you're doing too. It's like there's so much that God can do with the right resources and the right mindset, right perspective and truth.
Well, tell us about your course. I love how accessible it is, and you're taking the things we're talking about and putting handles on it, and somebody doesn't have to, be in the dark just grasping around for help and solutions, and kind of approach it to start with like this, this is if someone's listening to a podcast and then they hear about a course, whether they're the unfaithful spouse or the betrayed spouse, there's a lot of anxiety around. I'm going to go to a website and read about a course and then sign up for it.
Yeah.
Just that's a huge thing. So,
Yeah.
kind of walk a listener through what the course is and what it does, and maybe even different entry level like
Yeah.
access points for it
Yeah.
of ways they can walk through it, but also I just think it's helpful, yeah, to give them kind of an on ramp to this is what it's like to get started and things along those lines.
Well, first of all, no, thank you so much for the opportunity to share about this. I mean, that's a big deal. We just want to thank you. That's very kind. And it's so true. There's a lot of anxiety. I mean, Charity just told about all of her anxiety around a group that she was joining. And so the first thing was like, we want to just go, hey, first of all, this is 8 weeks. It's not, we did that on purpose. It's not 9 months, because a lot of things you join are like a year long. You're like, oh my gosh, every Tuesday night is going to be gone for a year.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, we made it 8 weeks. And then we made it the cost of like basically 1 or 2 therapy sessions, depending on the rate of your therapist. And so we're like, all right, let's make sure that it's like very affordable for people. And that's because we have a lot of people that have restoration stories who sponsor this ministry. And so the cost should be affordable. The other thing is that we have this whole thing on like Ask Us Anything page. So if you have a question about the course and you're like, is it right for us? Reach out, right? Go to our Ask Us Anything page and just ask us. That's literally Charity and I still responding to this day. We don't have an AI bot, and we would love to hire somebody, but right now it's us responding to you with those questions. And so we're happy to do that. But this course was, I think what happens is they don't mean to, but what we've talked about on this episode, Noah, is so many couples that in my experience didn't in the beginning understand what restoration could look like. And so what happened is these couples joined individual recovery groups, but they never learned about the other spouse. They never learned originally, like in the very beginning, okay, what is it going to take for us to restore our relationship? And so we have found that this is the best thing out there to do that. There's nothing like our course to this day. And so we love that. We love that we can go, hey, here's a new way to approach recovery as a couple when both spouses are willing to enter into recovery. And they both want restoration. They both want reconciliation. If one spouse wants it, it's probably not the right fit right now. But when both spouses' hearts are soft enough, this is so ideal, because it's almost like a course 101, like couples recovery 101. And so it covers a ton of topics. Yes, you're going to drink from a fire hose for 8 weeks. We loaded this thing with content. Most couples finish it in 8 weeks. They go, I'm going to revisit it for probably the next 8 years. I'm like, that's great. Not that long, but like 8 months at least. And they come back to certain topics. I'm going to read you the table of contents just so you get an idea of what's covered in our course. The first week is sharing your story with other couples in the group. These are led by our trained facilitators. We call them ambassadors. And so we train them on how to lead the groups well, on how to keep it safe. Most couples are blown away that we lead a course with both spouses present with other couples. They're like, wait, what? Like, how does that work? Let me just tell you, it's amazing. We have testimony after testimony of what that's like for a husband to hear another betrayed spouse. That's kind of where the magic happens, because what happens is when Charity shares with me her trauma, her experience, I feel shame. I feel condemnation. I get guarded. My defense mechanism goes up. But when I hear another betrayed spouse share all of her pain and her trauma, I feel empathy. And I feel like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. And then I look at my wife and go, wait, that's everything you've been saying to me. But I hear it through a different lens. And so it actually creates more empathy right off the bat between spouses. And for Charity to hear about another man's journey, this is not a man that betrayed her. This is not a man that did these things to her or that ruined her marriage. And so she can automatically hear it through a different filter. And she goes, wait, that's like Clint. He said that he started it at 8 years old too. Wow, he had this happen when he was a kid. Oh my gosh, how broken he must have been. No wonder he used pornography. No wonder he kept going back to it. Oh wait, Clint, that's what you said as well. And that happens all the time in these courses, these big light bulb moments that help the spouse see each other differently because of what's shared in the group. Second week is processing that pain with Jesus. Then we have understanding betrayal trauma, understanding sexual addiction, creating individual recovery plans, avoiding slips and relapses, navigating triggers together. How do you support one another? You can't control each other's triggers, but how do you support one another in those triggering moments where you come out afterward and you actually build trust and intimacy through it? And then how do you have healthy communication in the beginning stages of recovery? Now, this course is really 101. It's very the beginning phases of what a couple needs when they enter into recovery as a couple. But man, it's been amazing to see couples, at least the image is going to Home Depot and getting the tools you need to build a house. You're not going to build a house in 8 weeks. It's not going to restore your marriage in 8 weeks, but it's going to give you the tools you need to go, you know what? Okay, let's go and start this journey together. Let's start this process together with our best foot forward.
What does the interaction piece look like? I'm just break it down real simple. Like, am I in if I'm entering this in with my wife and I'm hearing other people's stories, is this in like a live setting? Are we on, like a Zoom type of call together? Or is this more self-guided and I'm hearing stories on the video? Just like, what am I getting into if I sign up for this?
Yeah. So it depends where you live and if there's a facilitated leader in your area and if they're offering an in-person group. So we offer in-person groups and we offer Zooms, and both of them are amazing. We have personally led so many groups on Zoom and they've been life-changing, amazing. And we've also had facilitators and leaders, and we've also led a couple of groups in person, and they've been incredible too. Yeah. So, but the max is 5 couples. We don't want a lot of couples in the room because then you don't get to share. Every week you are coming and you have already done your homework. So each spouse gets their own individual workbook with individual questions, and you're watching a video with your spouse in the comfort of your home. Because if you are triggered, you can pause, you can get up, you can leave, right? So you are watching a video series with a workbook, and then you're answering questions on your own, and then you're talking about with your spouse every single week. And then you're meeting up with your group for 2 hours to kind of just have discussion about what you watched, what you learned. Yeah. Each spouse gets to share. You get to hear from other people. And it is just an awesome time for reflection, connection, empathy, to really build that community so you're not feeling alone on the journey. And I can't tell you what the Lord does in these groups that we have seen is insane. I mean, we led a personal group, and one couple was in Ohio and another couple was in Canada. And we found out that after the group, the couple from Canada drove all the way to Ohio just to spend time with this couple because they connected and loved each other so much. We've heard also, even after the 8 weeks, that someone just was like, hey, let's continue to meet and let's go through this book together. Yeah. And they're still meeting, and they've been meeting for years. I mean, the community that happens in this is just so Holy Spirit led and just God ordained. And it's just beautiful. I mean, they become, like you said, friends for life.
Yeah.
How much is the cost?
Yeah, it's $300 for the whole course.
That's amazing. I just want to pause there, honestly, because when you sent me the thing that it was 300, I'm like, oh yeah, you get like a video and you self-guide yourself through it. What you guys are offering, I mean, for listeners, 300 is almost like free, right? Like, I mean, compared to what's out there. And I'm not knocking other ministries, but I mean, there's groups like this that cost thousands of dollars. And that is, honestly, it's so much more approachable too, right? Like, do the 8 weeks. Maybe it's terrible and it doesn't help you at all. You're only out $300. Some of these groups you're spending like $2,000 a month for like some huge, and I don't know who's even able to sign up for those. Well, so
that was the thing. I mean, real quick, when we first had our story blow up, we were 23 years old. Right? Yeah. We were living in an apartment that we had to actually shuffle our dining room table out of the way to open the front door. Like, someone would knock. The good news was it was great. It was great for burglars. Like, nobody would break into our house. So somebody knocked and go, hold on. And then we're like, you'd hear and we'd be like moving our kitchen table across the floor just to open the front door. We barely had money. We were eating mac and cheese and bean burritos all the time. We were paying off student loans. And when we first reach out to Intensive, they're like, yeah, for $6,000, you can. I'm like, oh,
well, you're right.
No hope, and so of course, initially started at almost $1,000. And honestly, no one ever bucked at that price. We've been told, I can't tell you how many times, to increase the price. but we wanted churches and pastors to feel like we can host this at our course or in
Yeah.
our congregation. We wanted churches to go, you know what, Clinton Charity, can you train a couple in our church and they can lead it in our congregation because we want to empower the local church. This isn't about us. We want to go, yeah, there's leaders all across the nation, across the world. We had somebody reach out from Singapore yesterday and be like, hey, we want to lead your course. I'm like, great. Like, we want to make sure that people in other countries can go, all right, we're going to save, we're going to buy that. And so, yeah, man, we're so passionate about making this accessible and affordable and all the things that it takes to eliminate excuses and go, all right, we can do this course because we want couples to experience freedom and healing and restoration that we have found in Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Well, I commend you for it. I mean, I just want, I want to just reiterate that to listeners that that's very unique, and thank you for doing that. You just mentioned so a listener could reach out, let's say if they and their spouse were have been on this journey and they're in that space of like, I want to help others, or I want to get this conversation going in my church. Sounds like they can reach out to you to be trained on how to lead a group in their group of friends, or in their church, something like that. That's great.
Yeah, we have so many people. Actually, we're in talks all the time right now with churches, organizations, and even just couples. Right? How many times a couple has a story like ours, and like, man, I feel like I keep meeting people that aren't experiencing restoration, and I need a tool. One couple was walking other couples through material, but they were like using AI, and like, well, Chat GPT was giving me something, but we didn't have a framework of like, how do you walk a couple through recovery? And then they got our course, and they're like, oh my gosh, this is what we've been praying for. And so, yes,
That's
if
awesome.
you have a heart for restoration and you want to help couples, please reach out to us. We would love to empower you and equip you, and make sure that you have something to point couples to, and even walk with those couples and experience discipleship. Right? That's what it is. Discipleship.
It is.
So if you do want to lead, it's very simple. We have a leader's workbook. So it has leader discussion, everything's timed out, all the questions in there. And then we have leader training videos, and all that costs $75. So, and then we meet with them ongoing in a group community with other leaders once a month, just to answer questions, to build community so that they don't feel like they're doing it alone. They feel equipped, they feel trained. And we've pretty much given them a roadmap. So they just have to open up the book and read the question. It's pretty easy.
Yeah, it's true.
This will be in the show notes as well, but let listeners know just the simplest way to connect with this resource.
Cool. Yeah. So our whole ministry is restored with the number 2 more. And you can find that on our website, our YouTube channel, podcast. We're on iTunes and Spotify, Instagram, and this resource is on our website. So it's under the resources tab, and you can just find out more information.
Let's give you each a chance to give your last words, last thoughts, closing thoughts for listeners about our conversation today, and perhaps where they may be.
There's 2 words that come to my mind right away, Noah, and that is surrender and abide. I just think that summarizes so much of the Christian walk. Whether you're walking through betrayal, you're the betrayed spouse, you're the unfaithful spouse, you're wondering what the next steps are. I know that the flip side is doing incredible work as well. And I just think that's where I need to be. Like I'm just preaching at myself over here. Like surrender and abide. I mean, daily right now we're waking up and we still have things we're surrendering. Thankfully, it's not what it used to be. Right. But it's like, all right, God, what am I holding on to that's hurting me? What am I holding on to that's hurting other people? What do I need to surrender? Where do I need to trust you? Where do I need to just abide? And then just abiding, right? Being with Jesus, just following him daily. And I think those are so crucial for anybody walking on this side of heaven, just surrendering and abiding.
It's good. I would just pour belief that you can do this, in your darkest and most trialing, devastating, broken, despaired time, that you can do this. And not on your own strength, and not because of your husband, not because of your friends, but because of God. And I would really recommend, if you aren't doing this already, on your phone, very simple. We all have a notes app, and start looking for scripture that is speaking to you, because it will just be water to your soul. It will fill you up so much. And just start putting in scripture, how he heals the brokenhearted, how he loves you, how he will restore your soul. There are so many incredible verses that when you're feeling down, you can just tap on that note app and you're going to start seeing all these verses. You're going to start speaking life into you.
Yes.
And that is what I would encourage both betrayed and unfaithful spouse to just lean into the Lord and just know that he's got you and you can do this.
RestoredToMore.com, the number 2. Clinton and Charity, thanks so much for joining us on the flip side. This has been great.
Thanks, Noah. It's been an honor to chat with you and just even know you. And we appreciate all you're doing for sure, too. Thank you.
Ever heard the sound of freedom? Have you ever heard the sound of
All right, welcome back. Head over to RestoredToMore.com to get more from Clinton and Charity, to pick up their group resources. They got a bunch of other good stuff over there. Check out their podcast, Restored to More, wherever podcasts are found. Check out Shelter in the Storm, coming out September 1st. Check out, what else did you check out? Well, if you check out books from the library, make sure you return them. Be a good citizen. Be kind. Rewind. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. I will see you next time on The Flip Side.
The Flip Side with Noah Filipiak is a Beyond Ministries production. Copyright Noah Filipiak. www.noahfilipiak.com. Theme music by Kyle Lake at K-Lake Music. Used with permission. Please leave a review on Apple Podcasts and subscribe wherever podcasts are found.
It's time to bring me closer. There's no purgatory, cause you're in or you're out. When you see him in the clouds, then you know it's going down. Raise them, raise them, raise them. They've been sleeping for some ages. Now all God's babies so confused by this hatred. Pulpit preachers shouldn't aim to be A-list. Money probably long, but short is what your days.